So, Project Tatanka. It's safe to say at this point that this thing is about as mysterious as the Halo 2 Trigate. We've known about the existence of this thing for years now. In fact, I'm pretty sure it first leaked before Infinite even released, but with no official announcements, or teasers, or anything, it's clear that the powers that be want to try and keep this thing as close to their chest as possible. But recently, there have actually been a ton of developments about Tatanka. Developments that, in this rather depressing hellscape of Halo that we find ourselves in nowadays, could maybe, potentially, be a light at the end of the tunnel. And so, today, we need to talk about these leaks, about Tatanka, and about the potential new Halo game. So, quite a lot of what we're talking about today is predicated on one specific recent leak. Actually, probably the biggest Halo leak of all time, I would go to say. The fact that Halo is ditching the Slipspace engine for the Unreal Engine. Slipspace, for those who don't know, or may have forgotten because at this point it feels like a decade ago that it was announced, was billed as a new engine for Halo Infinite, but it wasn't a brand new engine. It was just an overhauled version of the existing Halo engine, Blam, that Bungie made in the late 90s and that Halo has been on since pre-Combat Evolved. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know much about how game engines work because I don't, but from what I know, one of the main limiting factors of Blam and all of its iterations post-Halo 1 is technical debt. Basically, problems with the code that start to stack up over time as they're buried by new code. And that problem was only exacerbated with Slipspace, which was one of the main issues that caused Halo Infinite to release the way that it did.
Why are you the way that you are?
This, I also assume, is one of the main reasons why Halo is jumping ship to Unreal Engine. That, and unlike Blam and Slipspace, which were only ever used to make Halo and Stubbs the Zombie into prototype Shadowrun if you want to get really specific, Unreal is used by a plethora of other developers for a litany of other franchises. So when 343 do eventually start hiring again, the new devs that they bring on will already be familiar with the tech and the engine they're using. There won't be a period where they have to learn the new tools. But besides the obvious, how does this connect to Project Tatanka and the next Halo game? Well, all the initial leaks for Tatanka were suggesting that it was just going to be a battle royale. We don't really know any finer details about it, besides that it may have had some, PvPvE elements akin to Warzone and, well, the other Warzone. But it was seeming like it was just going to be built off Halo Infinite, and thus the Slipspace engine. Just like how Warzone was built off Modern Warfare 2019 and later Modern Warfare 2. Hell, one of the biggest Tatanka leaks we ever got was literally its game settings in the Halo Infinite custom games menu. Tatanka's codebase was also somehow leaked at some point last year, and although I don't have it personally, everyone I know who saw it and or has it has confirmed that via the code it was being developed in the Slipspace engine. And so everything was lining up quite nicely for Tatanka to just be a sort of pseudo DLC add-on for Halo Infinite that would likely integrate into the game's live service. Until recently. Now, Saresia, who has been absolutely spot on with Halo leaks for a very long time now, said a few weeks back that there have been no changes to the existing Tatanka codebase since December 31st last year, when before that, it was getting updated pretty frequently. And he then went on to say that the project has been halted or cancelled, which I think is correct to a degree. My theory is that the codebase for Tatanka in Slipspace stopped getting updated because Certain Affinity stopped developing it for Slipspace and instead moved it over to the Unreal Engine. With the entire franchise moving over to Unreal Engine, why would you continue to develop a project, especially one like this, on an engine that you know is being left behind? Especially if one of the main reasons that you're ditching that engine is because of technical issues and limitations. Battle Royales require massive maps and huge player counts, both significantly larger than anything Halo has done before, and that's before we consider the potential PvPvE elements and the complexities of throwing AI into the mix as well. Continuing to develop something like that on a Slipspace when the decision has already been made to transition the entire franchise over to Unreal just doesn't make any sense to me. And so, I am 99.9% sure that Tatanka has not been cancelled, but rather has been rebooted or had its development restarted in some capacity to coincide with the engine switch. Originally, I thought that Tatanka was just going to be some glorified DLC mode for Halo Infinite. I always assumed that the way it'd be developed and marketed and integrated within the existing Halo ecosystem would just be identical to how Warzone was integrated into Call of Duty, just as an extra, albeit bigger than usual, DLC mode. But if all of this lines up, and the project has been moved over to Unreal, then that all starts to get a little bit more complicated. Integrating two different game engines into one game is something that I just can't see them doing after how it turned out for MCC. One of the biggest causes of that game's problems was that it had every previous iteration of the Blam engine under the same HUD, which made for a rather unstable game, to put it lightly. And so, if Tatanka is on an entirely new engine, then I don't think it can just be an extra mode. I genuinely think that Tatanka is going to end up being an entirely new standalone Halo game, which honestly opens up a ton more possibilities than it just being a DLC mode. Now, I've seen that you guys have noticed that I've been slimming down and kind of muscling up as of late to fight the impending summerly flood outbreak, and I'm very happy to announce that I've managed to convince the ex-Spartan 2, who is training me to fight the parasite, to sponsor this video and help you all get in fighting shape as well. Dave from Muscle Coach. Dave is my online coach who's been helping me slim down and muscle up via remote training, which can be done from anywhere in the world with any degree of equipment and experience. It works great if you already go to a gym, or if you just want to get swole from home. For this sponsor, he's offering you two different plans to choose from. Firstly, Fit for Your Future, which is a 12-week program where you get access to his app that allows you to track your progress, and also comes with training, macro targets and more, and is a great introduction to online training. Or Results with Care, which is the plan I'm on, which offers a more one-to-one premium approach to training. When you join, you also get a welcome pack which explains what you need to do to help you hit your muscle or weight goals, and also access to a Facebook support group with weekly live streams where you can have any of your questions answered. I've been doing online training with Dave for about a year now, and as you guys have noticed and commented on in abundance, the differences have been quite insane. So hit the link at the top of the description and join your boy in getting swole for summer. Now, I really try not to huff too much hopium when making videos like this nowadays because, I mean, we all know how that tends to turn out nowadays for Halo, right? But given that Tatanka is developed by Certain Affinity, a studio that didn't just lay off their entire campaign team, there is a slim, very slim, yet still slightly possible chance that Tatanka could have a campaign, or at least some story-based content to go alongside the main bulk of the game. Granted, I don't think Certain Affinity have ever made a brand new campaign themselves before. I think the closest thing to that is they did COD 4 Remastered a few years ago, but they will have animators, level designers, and a lot of the developers that you need to make a campaign, so it could happen. Truth be told, I am not expecting Tatanka to launch with the Halo Infinite Offensive Bias DLC, and I don't think you should either. Don't get your hopes up. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really can't see them releasing a brand new Halo game that is literally just a battle royale. I mean, they could, but I feel like they'd do something extra as well. I really do hope that they use Tatanka to fill the void left by the lack of campaign DLC and almost use it as like a pseudo-sequel for Halo Infinite, but that's a long shot, and I don't think that long shot's gonna land. What I do think Tatanka is going to end up being, however, at least behind the scenes, is a proof of concept for Halo on the Unreal Engine. Not just proof that it can be done, but proof that it can, hopefully, actually work. It really wouldn't surprise me if this project ends up being almost like a pitch for Halo on Unreal. Or, not a pitch. I think a pitch is a wrong term. Almost just like something to convince the powers that be that ditching the overhauled Blam engine that they just spent God knows how many years and God knows how much money developing in favor of an engine that just about every man and his dog uses is actually a good idea despite the amount of wasted money on slip space. Or maybe I'm looking way too hard into it. Let me know in the comments. With all that said though, if Tatanka has been restarted and not cancelled, then Halo shifting to Unreal may not be the only reason for that. Tatanka is like 99% confirmed to be a BR, and the Battle Royale genre is kind of old now, like really old. It's been the trend since about 2015 with H1Z1, but that was almost 8 years ago now. It might still be super popular, but in recent years, it has for sure been losing steam. The peak has definitely come and gone, and there's a new contender on the horizon as well. Now, I've literally made an entire video about this that did really well, actually. Thank you all for watching, I appreciate that. But extraction shooters are beginning to emerge as the next big trend after Battle Royale. They share a lot of similarities with Battle Royales, but at the same time, they cut quite a lot of their fat, and also add extra elements of longevity and progression that keep people, myself included, addicted for a lot longer. Their popularity is rising, and it is rising fast, and just like in the golden era of Battle Royales, there's tons of new blood being pumped into the genre, and so it would not surprise me at all if 343 and Certain Affinity pivoted and rebooted Tatanka as an extraction shooter to try and catch the trend early, as opposed to arriving to the Battle Royale trend incredibly late, so late that my watch, that you can clearly see here, stopped working. Extraction shooters do share a lot of similarities with Battle Royale, and so if they did change the direction of Tatanka when the Unreal Engine switch happened, it's not like they would have had to completely scrap everything they were working on and start from scratch. A lot of the existing mechanics and systems they will have made will be able to be repurposed in the extraction shooter. Personally, I'd feel a lot more confident in Tatanka if it was trying to offer a Halo spin on a trend right as that trend was revving up, as opposed to arriving 8 years later to the trend. But then again, I'm a Tarkov fanboy, so maybe I'm just biased. The only issue that stems from all of this though is the release date. I'd heard for a while that Tatanka was meant to be 2023, and then sometime last year that date seemed to shift to 2024, but that was all before the supposed developmental restart, reboot, cancelling or halting of Tatanka. After that, I've heard nothing. Truth be told, I have no idea when this game is going to come out. I honestly couldn't even give you an inaccurate guess. All I'll say is I think we're going to be waiting for a very, very long time, which kind of feels like the new motto for Halo. I can't see how they start like full-on active development of Tatanka until 343 or whoever manages to nail down Halo's gameplay and that indescribable Halo feel that no one can describe but most people feel in Unreal Engine. That's going to be one of the biggest hurdles in this engine switch because it's the foundation of just about everything they're going to make moving forward, unless of course they end up going down the spin-off route for a while, in which case they're not tied down by the Halo feel, but that Halo feel is intrinsic to the Blam engine and all of its derivatives. Replicating that in Unreal is gonna be a tough task. Either way, unless Tatanka has been completely cancelled, which quite frankly I strongly doubt, it is going to be Halo's next major release, and honestly, I would not be surprised at all if it's Halo's first foray into Unreal Engine. This time last year, I was adamant that Tatanka was going to get announced at this year's Xbox Showcase at the Summer Game Fest, but now, nah, no chance. If that actually happens, I will do 7 shots of Missouri corn whiskey live on stream right here, and you can hold me to that, I promise I will do. Remember, in about 500 years' time, there is going to be a flood outbreak on Earth, whether you like it or not, and so you need to be in fighting shape, ready to shake off the infection forms that are coming for your spinal cord. And so, don't forget to check out Muscle Coach online fitness coaching and get swole for summer with your boy. Link down below in the description. Go and watch my Resident Evil 4 video by clicking like there somewhere. It's iconic and then some, trust me. And with that, I bid you all a hasta luego. Huge thank you to all of my patrons for the continued support over there as per usual, and thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.